All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance at today's briefing. All right, we're at the Marine Corps Planning Process Brief for Command and Staff College, Rooney Train, Strong Island Unit out here in Garden City, Long Island. Today, given that it's Sunday, very important Sunday in the history of Westeros, we're going to be wargaming the Battle of Winterfell. All right, so as Jon Snow and the rest of the folks out there in Winterfell get ready for their battle, we're going to talk about what the potential opportunities are here for the unit. Agenda today, we'll do situation update, frame the problem, give some commanders guidance, and then we'll get into some COAs and we'll see how far we get with this. All right, first of all, situation update, weather in Westeros. Okay, 7-day forecast for Westeros, as you can see, is basically all night, all winter. Temperatures anywhere from -12 to -50. Basically, the summary here is that winter is definitely here, and we are currently experiencing the long night. Terrain update. Okay, so the map of the known world basically exists of an icy frozen tundra to the north. We have a terrestrial choke point down here around mid-Westeros. We have lush deciduous forests throughout, and also we have 29 palms way out here in the east where the Dothraki are. Situation update, our AO. Okay, we have 4 phase lines. Phase line Black, located at Castle Black. Phase line Winterfell, located at Castle Winterfell. Phase line Iron, located where the Iron Islands and the choke point is. And phase line King, located where King's Landings happens to be. The unit layout includes the Army of the Dead to the north, currently located at phase line Black. The Army of the Living, currently consolidated mostly at phase line Winterfell, but also includes the Iron Fleet at this point, located out here to the west of Westeros near the Iron Islands. Lannister Loyalists are currently located back here down at phase line King. Cultural political update. Okay, in the north there's strong political alignment. Okay, the King of the North and the Mother of Dragons have come together and brought a lot of people together, and basically all the people of Westeros are willing to support them in the north, and with logistics and food and everything that they can come up with to keep that army going. In the south, however, the country, there's still a great deal of tension and a lot of disbelief about the Army of the Dead. So they're not actually sure that they even believe the Army of the Dead exists, and obviously Queen Cersei is out for herself, and that's a problem down there in the south. Enemy update. All right, so the enemy currently consists of about 100,000 foot soldiers, basically zombies, and approximately 1,000 White Walkers. We're going to consider them basically the officers, command and staff of that unit. There's about 5 to 10 ice giants, 1 ice dragon with significant firepower. Weapons include swords, axes, and teeth. Their strength is endurance. Basically, they can go forever without any logistical support. They don't need food. They don't need sleep. They don't need any of that. So that's a big strength for them. Weaknesses include Dragon's Glass and Dragon's Fire. All right, the enemy cannot travel across water. Now they do have a dragon, so perhaps 1 or 2 could fly across water, but it basically can't go into water, and that's a problem for them. So that's one of their weaknesses as well. Situation. The enemy's most likely course of action is that they will direct all of their forces directly south onto Winterfell and continue to move south and follow on operations. Remember, as they kill people, they consume them and they become part of their army. So they can probably increase the size of their army by 50% after passing phase line Winterfell if they were successful in victory there. So that's their most likely course of action. Their most dangerous course of action is if somehow they were able to transport some of their enemy forces down to King's Landing and end around maneuver and basically create more Army of the Dead so that they had a 2-front attack on the Army of the Living somewhere between phase line Winterfell and phase line Iron. That would be sort of like putting the Army of the Living into a death vice, if you will. And the most advantageous course of action would be if they just came directly south with their forces, because there is some options for friendly forces if they take this course of action. Mission statement. All right, so the mission statement here is that on order, the Army of the Living expels or slows the Army of the Dead from advancing south in order to ensure that the living do not perish from Westeros. All right, the purpose is to prevent the Army of the Dead from killing all the living before the winter ends. All right, so there's a timeline on this. Is we assume that when winter ends, they have a hard time sustaining life in warmer weather. End state: expulsion of the army of the dead from the south back to phase line black or beyond, and the disruption of zombie making operations. We're going to stop them from making more zombies. All right, we're going to go into graphic task organization timeline. We might get into some of this, or I might run out of time here. So, all right, so basically COA 1 that we're going to present here is the drop and hold COA. This is based on the most likely course of action and then our counter moves here. So basically the most likely course of action is that the army of the dead moves south, gets right past Winterfell, but our course of action would be that we drop back to phase line iron, hold phase line iron using both bodies of water on the east and the west, and the Iron Fleet to our east to support a sort of choke point battle. In other words, they have a lot more bodies, we have less. We look at it like sort of like the Spartans at the hot gates of Thermopylae. Can we reduce their impact of their numbers by bringing the battlefield down and bounding them by these bodies of water, which are problematic for them? If this happens and it works out, then we will basically move one dragon to protect the Iron Fleet and one dragon down to King's Landing to basically encourage those forces to pull their shit together and be ready to reinforce the army of the living should they break through phase line iron. If this works or if it doesn't work, regardless, the end of our COA is that we would send a survival team to the Iron Islands to hold out through the winter, so that regardless of the success of the Night King, we would still have some living out on the Iron Islands held up throughout the winter, so that in the summer they can begin repopulating civilization and hopefully coming up with the next phase of Westeros life plan. That's all we have for today. We'll get back to you after the battle tonight. Everybody enjoy the fight, and we'll talk to you soon.